sayings. Here we go. Okay. Is anybody here?
Hello.
All right. Coffee time. What's the matter, kitty cat? Don't let him up here. He's already be sits there. Well, here we go. Lorraine, welcome.
Hello.
She can't say hello back. I wish they could. All right, we have to use our glasses because we're old. Hello, Patty. Welcome.
Thanks for visiting.
We're just having some cappuccinos. You're invited. My coffee. You know, our cat's playing. When we first started Low Carb, everybody, and we're talking over about 26, 27 years ago, everybody used to say, coffee will stall your weight loss. And our famous reply was, well, if it does, and you know, everybody's different, then you might want to limit your coffee. Okay, Monty boy. But it never happened to us. I mean, we drink coffee like fools. All day, all night. I actually drink it at night and I go right to sleep. So that's all we're going to talk about today. Thanks for showing up. This is a very casual, low-carb coffee talk. And today we're going to go over my simple sayings for living a low-carb lifestyle. And we're just waiting for a few more people to show up. Who's that? I can't read it.
Paulette.
Oh, Paulette, welcome. I'm George. You probably know that. This is my wife, Rachel.
Hello.
And we've been doing low carb since I was 37 years old. I'm now 64.
Long time.
People say, yeah, it won't last. It won't last. It's not something you can continue to do. Well, you're not exactly right about that. That's for sure. As a matter of fact, I'm at my lowest weight that I have been since I started. And we're missing. Hello, Melissa. Welcome. Let me see. Oh, yeah. There we go. A few more people showing up. Yeah, I went back to work as a chef over the last couple of years, and it kicked my butt. And now I'm at 205 pounds, which is 6 foot, 205 pounds, and lots of muscles. No. Only that one in my arm. It's the only one I have. And that's from sauteing all day long with thousands of frying pans.
What's left of you is mostly muscle.
Yeah, I'm not doing too bad. Except for everything else. Like my eyes. Anyway, I started low carb over 25 years ago. I was 470 pounds. Hello? Oh, did you have periods where you went off low carb? And what were the results if so? Pamela asks, well, first of all, let me finish what I was saying, which was I was 470 pounds in a wheelchair with heart failure. And I lost the first 200 pounds in a year. And Rachel was...
way up there.
Oh, yeah. She lost, like, what, 85 pounds?
It was a lot.
And now she's too skinny.
I lost so much weight so fast that...
Hello, Marianne. Hello, Kim.
I saw my own reflection
Another
in
guru
the side
in the
of a building when we were in New York. They have a lot of glass, you know, it reflects. And I saw what I actually looked like. I was like, that's me. It was hard to believe that I had dropped so much weight, but I had.
Well, it's hard to believe that it's like 27 years later. And we were just asked, did we ever go off of low carb? And our answer to that is no. We don't have a reason to, never had a reason to. That's why we have 10 cookbooks, low carb cookbooks, because they were first made for us, all the recipes, so that we could keep it exciting and not get bored. In fact, The original title of my first book was Never Be Bored Again on a Low Carb Diet, Tested and True Recipes by the Low Carb Chefs. That was the name of the book. That book
That's what you wanted to name.
That book, yeah, it was never titled. But that's what it was all about. You know, how did we do it? Well, we did it by eating all these wonderful fresh foods, the same fresh foods that our ancestors bartered, grew, traded, and ate, and didn't have an obesity problem. The foods that are on your outside aisles of your grocery store. You've heard that a million times. I'd like to say I was the first one to say it, but I probably doubt that. Kim, you both look wonderful. Well, we aspire to look like you, Kim, but I don't think that's happening.
Thank you.
Kim is a low-carb fitness guru. Am I wrong about that, Kim, or am I right? I'm pretty sure I'm right. Because I know all of my fans. Every one of them. So what we were saying when we first started is that we're having cappuccino, and
In our gift cups from the Food Network.
oh, that's
Frank Lloyd Wright cups.
Yep. That and $1 would get you nothing. Anyway, we're trying to keep these casual, but we have so much information to go over. But hopefully, what anybody might get from this is inspiration or the answer to some simple questions, oh my gosh, where did I write her name? Oh well, I'm sorry, but somebody asked us what kind of breakfast ideas could we give that weren't egg related, and we're going to go over that. And I do fitness, yes, I got it right. Just keto and low carb, cool. But yeah, we're going to go over some breakfast ideas. But what we'd like to do is provide some motivation and inspiration, what I call the 2 missing ingredients to successfully change the way you look at food and eat. All the doctors out there tell you that they have the right way to lose weight. And many of them have come around, like Duke, we mentioned this yesterday, Duke University Cardiology Department, now recommending low carb, or has been for over a decade, maybe 2, for their cardiac patients to reduce their cholesterol and improve their heart health. I'm a heart patient from when I was 470 pounds. I haven't had problems since, but congestive heart failure supposedly never goes. But I've broken the rules before, so who knows? Do you two boys do this? No. Our kids don't eat low carb, but they eat healthy, fresh foods that happen to be naturally low carb. Look at the waving Pikachu, right? Is that a Pikachu?
It's a little dog.
Oh, it was a dog. See, it was orange or yellow. So there's a little dog waving on our screen. So, but the both of them eat healthy food, and they cook all the time. So, I mean, Christian's still writing books and doing food videos and things like that. But neither one of them has a weight problem. And that's what I tell people all the time. I mean, whether you're doing low carb, keto, low fat, watching your calories, watching your carbs, Weight Watchers, The Zone, you name it. I used to say all these things, but pretty much they've all become low carb based anyway. It doesn't matter. What matters is that it's the right diet for you. Because if you're not eating the foods that you like every day, then you're dooming yourself to failure on any plan, whether it be low carb or otherwise. But at the same respect, if that light bulb goes off in your head and you know you can do it, most likely you will. As a matter of fact, we have a Food Network story about that. It's one of the ways I got my show on the Food Network. You'd think it was because I'm a chef and I was Mr. Low Carb, et cetera, but it was so much more than that. From screen tests and focus groups to the one thing that really got us through. Should we tell that story?
Go ahead.
Yeah, we're all full of stories. I mean, forget about all these papers and information I have for you. We got stories. And we'll start with Rachel Ray. No, we won't.
Skip that.
Skip that one.
Uh-oh.
My shirt's falling off. And it's a size large. like I said, it doesn't matter. For you, if a light bulb goes off in your head and you know you can do it, most likely you will be successful. And that's not just with eating, with almost anything. But the executive vice president of Food Network, we met her after barging into her office in Manhattan, downtown Manhattan, on Fifth Avenue, Avenue of the Americas, with our famous low carb Stella style New York ricotta cheesecake. And we were dressed as the low carb chefs. We just came from Dr. Atkins'
They let us
memorial.
right up. They thought we were delivering lunch.
Yeah. Well, it was after 9/11, let's preface that. And they were being real careful who they let up into the skyscrapers in Manhattan. And they were on like the 30th floor of a skyscraper. We walked in chef's jackets because we had been at Dr. Atkins' memorial service. We were invited. And we were we didn't have any money. We didn't want to waste the time. So we brought that low carb sugar-free cheesecake with us. We walked in and they go, "Do you have an appointment?" And we go, "No, but we have this cheesecake. We have to go on up." They just let us go right up. And we went up to the Food Network floor, and the doors opened, and it was Food Network Studios. It opened right into the studios.
Big round sign, Food Network.
We thought we were going to be in a hallway or something. We have time to make our plan before we open the door, but no. The elevator opens, and the woman goes, "Can I help you?" Like, we're not supposed to be there. We shouldn't even been able to get in there. And before I could say anything, this woman comes in front of the elevator. We're not even out of the elevator. And she goes, "What are you doing here?" And I go, "Uh-oh. I don't know who this woman is." And she goes, "Come with me." And we marched, literally, heavy footsteps right down to her office. She got in her office, shut the door, went behind her desk, put her hands on her desk and said, "I can't believe you're standing here in my office."
We apparently were on the same train platform earlier in the day.
Yeah, going to
and
Manhattan.
she had seen our info on the restaurant we were opening.
I was opening a restaurant in her hometown in Hastings.
And she walks right by the restaurant to get to the train platform and was reading about us and saw us and wanted to approach us and talk to us.
She knew who we were.
She was reluctant to just come over to a stranger and start talking to us.
And we were nobody.
So she literally wanted to talk to us that day, and we ended up in her office.
Okay,
it was
so
awesome.
she goes, "I'm standing on the train platform with you," and that's like at 6 a.m. And she goes, "I wanted to talk to you, but I thought you'd think I was a crazy old lady." She's not that old. And she goes, "And then you show up unannounced in my office in the middle of Manhattan." She couldn't believe it. Really, it is a crazy story. But, if you know me, I'm a little crazy. So I go, "Okay, that's great, but I've been pitching the Food Network for the last 2 years to have a show." She goes, "You have?" And she goes, "Who have you been pitching?" And I told her the name of the person. It was a producer at Food Network, executive. And she screamed out loud, like, "So-and-so, get in here." And just like that, she comes running in. And she goes, "George," because she knew who I was. I was corresponding with her for 2 years. And she goes, "You know George?" And she goes, "Yeah." Turns out, she told me later when I asked about her, the executive vice president told me that they fired her because she had been holding my information to herself to release it if and when it was the proper time. So I lost a couple years right there, but we got it back by the good graces of God, by walking in there and surprising them at the exact right time. But it did take another year to get the show, and that, like I said, I had to do screen tests and focus groups, and there had to be budgets approved, et cetera, et cetera. But if I keep on with stories like that, we'll never get anywhere. So that's how we finally got on the cheesecake. On the cheesecake, yes, on the Cheesecake Channel. That coming to your area in the fall.
Speaking of cheesecake, cheesecake's good for breakfast.
Oh yeah, there you go. It's got eggs though. It does have eggs.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, but you won't know it. Okay, so let's go over a few breakfast ideas, and then I'm going to get into a few simple sayings for living low carb, which I think are motivating probably more than my stories. But right now I'm looking at, excuse me, I'm going to grab this book. This is the complete low carb cookbook. This is probably our most popular out of 10 cookbooks ever. It's a bestseller. And there is that cheesecake we brought them. Why wouldn't I get a show for that? And we were asked about breakfast. Oh, look at this. That's me just before I started low carb. I was 37 years old in a wheelchair at 470. My back was shot, my knees were shot. No surgeries, nothing. Just a lot of ibuprofens along the way. And here we go.
Show my picture.
Oh, okay. This isn't working out too good.
It's real big too.
This is Rachel right there at about 200 pounds. She's 100 pounds soaking wet now. So half her weight gone.
120.
Yeah, I doubt it. I think it'll be less than that. Okay, so breakfast. We have all different categories in our books, and the books are available if you're interested. Anyway, mixed berry muffins. There's one. I'm going to just rattle these off. If anybody wants them, they can post on Facebook, and I'll post the recipe on Facebook. All right, mixed berry muffins. Again, they have eggs, but they're made with almond flour and raspberries, blueberries, you name it, strawberries. Then we have...
I also like to take leftover muffins that are cold and cut them in half and put them on a griddle with butter and cook them. They're good like that.
Okay, eggplant and bacon home fries, cinnamon wheatless waffles, coconut flapjacks, ricotta crepes, maple pecan drop scones. So there's just a few. I left off the eggs Florentine skillet and the better cheddar sausage and egg.
You can also eat last night's dinner for breakfast.
Silver dollar pancakes.
Just because people don't do that too often. Well, I heard Martha Stewart one time say she has salmon for breakfast. I wouldn't eat salmon for breakfast, but Martha Stewart does.
I do. There's those muffins. Look at those mixed berry muffins. Huh? You'd never know they were low carb, and that's the secret to success. Again, if you're not eating what you like, you're dooming yourself to failure. And we've reinvented everything we like, and then we've shared it with you. So, that's it for that. You want to go over these?
Do some of your sayings.
Yeah, let's do some of the sayings. Okay, I'm going to say one, and then Rachel will say one. I made up these sayings based upon everybody asking me questions at my appearances, wherever I go. And I was saying them so often that I just made a complete list of these. They're all one-liners. I mean, they're not really made up. They're, we live this. Deborah, nice to see you. Okay, here we go. Simple sayings for living low carb. All right? You got to eat to lose weight. Now, we can go off on a tangent on that one.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about yesterday. Do not skip meals ever. That's a bad thing. You got to feed your body.
Yeah, your body's the same as a furnace. When you go to bed at night and you put a log on the fire on your fireplace, if you have one, it burns all night. And that's the longest time you go without food, from nighttime till breakfast, from dinner till breakfast. If you wake up in the morning and you put another log on the fire, it will burn bright. After burning all night, it's almost out. But if your body is the same way. Your body's a furnace. When you wake up in the morning, if you don't eat breakfast and you skip it the way I did for 20 years, your body will start storing fat within just a couple hours. And because it thinks you're not going to feed it, it becomes starvation mode for your body in as quickly as missing one meal. So you got to eat to lose weight. And people on low carb don't eat enough sometimes because the beauty or catch-22.
Our son Christian did that. He decided to join us, and then he also limited the amount of food, and we're like, no, that's wrong. Eat all you want.
Well, but you know what?
Carb.
Some people, I mean, it is an acceptable practice these days, especially when you're trying to lose those last 10 to 20 pounds, skipping a meal here and there. So I contradict myself, but if you're just getting started, you need to change your body in the way that it fuels itself and burns carbs instead.
everything.
Instead, it burns fat instead of carbs. Okay, here we go.
All right, the next one says, shop the outside aisles of your grocery store where all the fresh, healthy foods are. The same foods that our ancestors grew, raised, and ate, and we didn't have an obesity problem then.
Yep, that one is, like I said. Lynn Davis is watching. Nice to see you, Lynn.
Hello.
Okay, here's an easy one. I'm a French trained chef from way back. When you're cooking with color, you're eating healthy. That's a great one because if you could put 5 different color foods on your plate, and that's, you know, vegetables and fruits are extremely important. There's many low carb options. I could rattle them off right now: zucchini, yellow squash, mushrooms, spinach, asparagus, you name it. Then strawberries, raspberries, blackberries, blueberries, cantaloupe, honeydew. These are all very colorful, fresh foods. Peppers, I used to say all the time. Did you know there's more citrus in a red pepper than there is in an orange? Oh, more citrus.
Vitamin C? Whoops.
Yeah, a red pepper has 3 times the vitamin C of an orange.
It's crazy.
Yeah, put a few chopped pieces of red pepper on your salad, and it's good for you. Who knew? Hey, y'all. Hello, Lynn Davis. Okay, so what else we got here?
All right.
We'll go through these fast. There you go.
Your turn.
No, it isn't. It's your turn. Get into your kitchen and cook. That sounds simple enough. Oh, and get your kids in there too. If I put these glasses on one more time.
Just leave them on.
There you go.
Find your style. If you want to lose weight, if you're really ready to lose weight, you can. Regardless of what you call the way you eat, you can lose weight if you eat fresh, healthy food. You don't have to call it a diet.
Yeah.
It's a lifestyle.
And that's coming from Mr. and Mrs. Low Carb. Eat well-rounded meals. It's not just about the fats. It's not just about the proteins. It's about, like I said, trying to have as many colorful foods on a plate and eating well-rounded meals.
Down with counting. Identify the right foods without obsessing over each and every carb or calorie.
Okay, I'm going to expand on that. Down with counting. So many people ask me, how many carbs a day did you have and how many do you stick to now? And then a lot of people, everybody's worried about how many carbs are in this, how many carbs are in that. How come that is such a high carb count? Well, it isn't necessarily the amount of carbs in it, it's where the source is, where the carbs came from. I would much rather eat 5 grams of carbs coming from low carb, low glycemic vegetable choices than to eat it from, say, a baked potato. Because there's no comparison. They're 2 different items. They might have the same amount, I could put a little piece of potato and it might have the same amount of carbs as
a giant mound of something else.
Yeah, but they're not the same. Not all carbs are created equal. And I stuck to under 30 carbs a day. In the beginning, I did 20 carbs a day for a long time. Way long. That's induction. I did it for way longer than is normally expected. But I had a ton of weight to lose. Okay, so surround yourself with a strong support system. If you can go online and go to Facebook to George and Rachel Stella, you can get some support. Sorry. But yes, don't try to go out there, as the Lone Ranger. All right? And keep menus simple while trying to stay creative. This is a good one. Rachel does this all the time.
Cook ahead, cook once, eat twice, and freeze for grab-and-go anytime meals.
Now, if I wasn't going to mess everything up, I'd grab my phone and go over to our freezer and show you how we got a lot of fish from the restaurant I work at because it was going to go bad and they weren't using it. So I said, don't throw it away. It wasn't bad yet. I wouldn't take bad fish. And we got some grouper and some mahi and some swordfish. And right now in our freezer, in gallon Ziplocs, are lemon butter fish, blackened fish, Italian Parmesan fish,
top.
which, by the way, mayonnaise and Parmesan cheese and a little bit of garlic, You mix it all together, put it on top of your fish or chicken, and bake, and it's the best Italian
Delicious.
fish or chicken you've ever had. Well, not ever. Okay, so we have some more sayings.
Skipped a few.
This is one of my favorites. Don't do without. Reinvent your high carb favorites. We call them Stella swaps, Stella style swaps.
You gotta have your substitutions because you crave what you can't have. So you have to reinvent and make it low carb, similar, but not carby.
Okay, and I'll leave on this note, there's more of these. Eat until you're satisfied. If you leave hungry, that's when all havoc might break out. Eat until you're full. And, if you think it's too much, if it's low carb, it's probably not too much. But again, the catch-22 is once you get rid of the simple white carbohydrates and the sugars, your body levels off and you burn food evenly and your appetite does decrease.
After a couple of weeks of doing low carb, no more appetite. It's crazy.
Except for coffee.
Had to remind myself, oh, it's time to eat lunch. I forgot it's time to eat lunch. I'm not even hungry yet, but you got to eat.
Okay, let's see what Lynn says. She loved our cooking show on the Food Network. Yeah, I liked it. But everything changes. The Food Network's not what it used to be. People don't sit still for 30 minutes. They flip through their Roku like we do every 5 minutes or less. So it's, entertainment now more than in the old days it was teaching people how to cook. I'm sure there's someone out there still doing that, but I don't know who it is. Okay, I've been ignoring the Sharon. Welcome, Sharon. I've been ignoring the posts here. Let's see what. I have to get close here, so pardon my unshaven face. Do we recommend intermittent fasting? We talked about that, and that we didn't have to.
I wouldn't do it.
Oh, the puppy waving is my sister Virginia Olsen.
Hi, Virginia.
And now we're doing a countdown to her birthday, so it's 5 days from now. And she's losing weight like crazy right now.
Excellent.
Okay. So what else can we talk about? Let me see what I got here. Oh,
Speaking of the cheesecake, that's the most tested recipe ever. I made it like 17 times before I got it right. I mean, they were all good.
Okay, so let me just say this, that we've talked about, I really quickly said Stella swaps, swapping your high carb favorites for low carb, healthy low carb alternatives. And I put here, develop healthy eating habits by finding good carb, fresh food swaps for your higher carb favorite foods, such as shrimp scampi made over spaghetti squash in place of white flour pasta. That's another real favorite of ours. And no sugar or flour in a delicious almond flour pound cake. So forget the cheesecake. That might be difficult if you've never made one. But a pound cake is a dump and mix recipe where you put it in a bowl with a wooden spoon, you dump, you mix, you bake, done.
Yeah, it's a little bit more than that, but it's not that bad.
That's how I do it. Okay, Pamela. Pamela says that she's having a harder time sticking to it this time around.
After falling off the wagon. Yeah.
We can understand that, but I think again,
I hope we can motivate you a little. You can do it. Just pull out one of our cookbooks and find something interesting that you're craving and do it low carb. And that'll help you stick to it.
This is really unconventional advice I'm about to give you. So take it with a grain of salt. Do you have any buffets in your area? I know that sounds crazy, but we started this in a crazy way.
The buffet story.
I'll ask Rachel, how did we get started?
eating at buffets.
Nope. We started by laughing.
Oh, okay, that's true.
We thought-
laughed at the book that Atkins said you can eat all the steak and butter, et cetera,
And bacon and eggs and all the stuff I
you will
love.
lose weight. And we went out to prove that story wrong.
Right. We went out to all you can eat
ate
buffets.
a lot of low carb food at buffets.
Now, the thing about buffets is you get to pick and choose what you want to eat. You go to a restaurant and you order food, and you're not really sure what it's going to be when you get it on the table, whether it has sauce, whether it was made with thickening agents like cornstarch or roux, flours. You just don't know. But when you're looking at a buffet, you can pretty much see whether or not it's a thick sauce. You should know whether or not it's a low carb option, like green beans are low carb and corn is not. So you would leave the corn there and you would take the green beans or the collards. Even Golden Corral has the meat, the steak department there and all the meats. By the time you get halfway around it, you've filled your plate. You go over to the salad area, you get a nice salad.
A lot of salad selections.
I load my salad with cheese and eggs and bacon, to make it. It's not even a salad anymore. It's a disguised meal. But when you're doing that, you are choosing what's low carb, and you're eating low carb. And the beauty of it is you can eat as much as you want while you're at that buffet, as long as you're choosing the right foods. And the same goes true once you're not at a buffet. You can eat until you're full as long as you're choosing the right foods. When we stopped going to buffets because our appetites decreased, we didn't stop eating like that. We started doing our shopping in one day, and then that day we'd go home and we'd prepare a little bit of everything. Maybe some steak, maybe some chicken with it, 2 kinds of vegetables, a cauliflower mock potato salad that's one of our favorites, with no potatoes, of course, lots of eggs, old-fashioned. And we would have the whole neighborhood, my kids, the neighborhood kids would show up on that day. This was never planned. It's just the way it worked out. And they would eat because we had so much food. And one day when we were on The View, Barbara Walters asked me, how did you put your sons on a low-carb diet? And then Christian raised his hand and said, I could answer that. And he said, I saw all the wonderful food that my parents were eating, and I couldn't resist. Well, neither could his friends, and they would come and eat during that home buffet. The next thing I know, Christian's lost 175 pounds. We're down the weight. Christian's best friend, Ryan, lost half his weight. And
Still
then
kept it off.
it was like a year or two later, we found out that Ryan's mother lost weight because the kids went home and affected their parents. And it was all because
reaction.
It was all because of wonderful fresh food. The food that I was serving my customers, Dover sole and Chateaubriand and filet mignons and all that stuff. And then I would go home and eat McDonald's at midnight while hanging on the refrigerator door drinking a gallon of orange juice. But the good food, if I had been eating it all along, my family and myself would have never had this problem because I set the pace. And you can also set the pace for your family in the opposite direction, and that's what we did by eating.
So
I don't know
Debbie
if that
has
motivates you, but it should.
Golden Corral near her.
Yeah.
And, Golden Corral, because they have the steak, is a good.
And it's not just the steak, because that steak can be tough.
Well,
but their pot roast is phenomenal.
oh yeah, the pot roast is good.
Yeah. I mean, look, I'm not a commercial for Golden Corral, but I did know the owner about 20 years ago, and he went on low carb. And that's when he was successful on it. I think he's from the Carolinas. He was the actual owner of the franchise, of the chain or whatever, the creator. And he created that steak area in the middle of the stores, of the Golden Corrals, where they have the people grilling the steak and all that food. He created that. It's like mostly protein. And he did that because of low carb back around 2005. So there you go.
That's
an
interesting.
inside story.
There's
Pamela says,
lots of choices that are low carb at Golden Corral because the owner is low carb.
Okay, I got to read this. Pamela McCreary says, I tried Atkins back in the day until you came along. And after I started following your shows and buying your cookbooks, I found it was a better program. Yeah, and it was really never a program. That's why it was better. I am so glad to see you years later, still excited about it. Well, I'm glad to be here years later because everybody took bets that I wouldn't. In fact, when I started this, and anybody that's been around like Kim and lots of you for any length of time on low carb, you'll know that doctors and nurses used to berate us, especially me. I would go in there and they would just like I was evil just because I was doing low carb. But I was losing weight, I was getting healthier, and I got out of the wheelchair. So that's the reason I knew I was right and they weren't. Now the doctors and nurses have come around, and that's what we were talking about. All the major universities, Emory, Duke, you name it, are recommending low carb for their patients to reduce their cholesterol. And I hear that all the time. Well, doesn't your cholesterol go up when you eat all that fat? No, because you're fueling your body with that fat. You're burning it. It doesn't have a chance to clog your arteries. Now, if you have a steak and a baked potato, your body's going to burn the baked potato because it's simple white carbs, and they burn simply. So now you're going to burn the potato for energy, which is a high, but it's also a low really quickly afterwards, and that's the problem with simple white carbs. But you're going to store the fat from the steak. You're supposed to burn the fat from the steak, and you would do that if instead of having that baked potato like Rachel recommends, make some mock mashed potatoes made out of cauliflower. Or just fill up with 3 to 5 vegetables. Zucchini, yellow squash, eggplant, asparagus, spinach, mushrooms. Mushrooms with a steak, that's classic. That's steakhouse classic. Mushrooms, asparagus, and a steak. Simple, basic, low carb meal. Okay, I don't know what I'm saying. I cook at home, don't care about going. Yeah, we don't go out to eat. We did in the beginning because we were testing it, and that's what we were used to. We were used to buffets, and we wanted to see if that would work. But again, the catch-22 is our appetite decreased to the point where buffets didn't appeal to us anymore. Plus, we had been to everyone so many times because I used to say back then, I could tell you what every item is on each buffet in Orlando. Orlando and Kissimmee, Disney area, land of buffets. But, all right, what else we got to say? That's my job at the wharf calling me. What time is it? Anybody know what time it is?
7:36.
Well, they keep calling me to work.
Well, maybe they're desperate.
Serves them right. My hours keep getting cut. It's unfortunate. But it's a slow season here, and we're actually in a little mini off-season near Disney. We're about 4 miles from Disney, and I work at Margaritaville. Everybody was asking me, what about the restaurant you're opening? Well, they got way behind on the construction, and I'm not opening a restaurant anymore with them. So,
Speaking about how slow everybody's business is, this week and next week are like the 2 best weeks to go to Disney because it's slow right now. And then the Europeans and the other tourists will start coming around. But right when school starts, it's very slow around here.
I'm guessing he might be calling me to tell me not to come in tomorrow. That would be 5 days in a row I haven't worked. So, excuse me, to be honest with you, we're trying this video thing out because we'd like to do this every day. We'd like to be in our kitchen. We have a beautiful kitchen that would be perfect for filming. It's right behind me. No, it's in front of me.
Well, we'll show it off eventually.
But, we'd really like to be doing this because for some reason at my age, I can't get the hours. I don't know if it's my age. It's probably not.
I think it's everybody that works at that restaurant is getting hours cut.
I just like to think it's something. But we're hoping that this will be a nice change for us and that we can help everybody that listens and at the very least have some fun. on that respect, I'm going to put this up now because I didn't do it last time. But we have a Patreon site. We don't know much about it, but I figured out how to have these talks, and we can have them every day. So I don't know if that's showing backwards, because that's what it reads to me.
I think they can see it.
Okay, yeah, we don't know.
It's not a mirror, so...
Anyway, that's our Patreon address, patreon.com/George Stella, no spaces. Thank you, Pamela. We try. And this is the simpler way. Where is it? PayPal.me/George Stella, no spaces. There you go. And you'll find them also in my posts, those things. That will help us, especially to get cooking, because I'll be honest with you, it's not cheap to do a cooking demonstration. You have to make it a couple of times, and you have to have all the ingredients. And we'd like to be doing this on a regular basis. So if you can help, great. If not, we can talk for sure. Debbie, it's backwards. It is backwards.
Oh.
So how do we make it look forwards?
You have to write it in a mirror. You have to...
Let's see. Can you? Does it look? Oh, look at that.
Oh, okay. There you go.
There you go. That's I'm just showing you the back of it. It's showing through. Patreon.com/George Stella, no spaces.
Also, if you donate, a lot of the money will go to cats, because I feed all the feral cats in our neighborhood, in the old neighborhood where we used to live.
Yes.
I go there every day, twice a day, and feed cats.
Even when we don't eat. We also work with Osceola County Animal Services to have them spayed and neutered, and then they're just released right back to us.
Many cats.
Yeah, they don't kill them. They don't kill cats anymore, but they do spay and neuter them to reduce the feral community population. And we have had literally dozens of cats neutered and spayed ourselves, and now luckily we've got Osceola County Animal Services helping us. This is the PayPal forwards now. PayPal.me/George Stella, no spaces. Okay, and again, it would be listed. So, thanks for letting me know.
Thanks in advance for any donations. We appreciate.
Okay, I think I'm going to ask, are there any questions that anybody might have? I don't know how long we've even been on here for. Oh gosh, yeah, we don't like to go over 30 minutes because I feel that people just can't stand us for that long.
All right, so what we can do is we can
What?
tell people to ask you questions for tomorrow.
Oh, yeah.
If you don't have to work tomorrow.
Pamela loves cats too. Yeah, I love dogs. But the cats fell into our lap, so to speak.
I did not want to turn into the cat lady.
Yeah,
but
she is.
It's just happening. You put food outside for one cat, and everybody in the neighborhood comes.
Yeah.
And that's how it happens.
Some of the feral cats that we've been feeding, we've been in this neighborhood for 20 years. They're 16, 17 years old, and they live outside.
Yeah.
So you can imagine that is like unheard of. Usually
feeding feral cats does help extend their life, because a normal feral cat survives 5 years on average.
Plus, it's really crazy, but they all get along because when she feeds, we feed different groups, different cliques on different streets every day and every night, and they'll actually walk up to the food dishes together. Yeah. And they'll eat like 5, 6 cats in a row. Whereas in the old days, before we even started this, they were just fighting all the time, trying to get some food. Okay, that's enough about that.
We're going way long today.
Yeah, and what we're going to talk about next, and we'll do this again tomorrow, but it'll have to be, I work tomorrow, maybe not. It'll have to be earlier.
Thanks, Pamela, for adopting a pharaoh. Good job.
We don't, but anyway, what was I going to say?
We don't know about tomorrow's time.
I don't know about tomorrow's time. I'll figure it out when we get off here. But what we're going to start going through is getting started living a low-carb lifestyle. And that's going to be carb-proofing your pantry for number one. That's just for people starting out, or maybe just to take a look at what you need to do and maybe clean out your cupboards again. How to, reading food labels basics, and then most really fun one is shopping, going grocery shopping with us, and we'll actually go to every single grocery aisle and tell you what we buy in those aisles, and then we'll post it online. We're going to start posting online the things that we're doing here. Okay, is there anything anybody else would like to hear besides our rambling? No?
You didn't want to go this long. So
No.
end it.
Yeah. Well, this was our second try at this, and I'm sure we're going to be back, and we have a lot more to offer. And when we get more people in here, you can start sending us your questions. I think we'll be a little bit more effective.
Thanks for visiting.
Thank you, and keep on low carbon. We did it, and so can you. Bye.